so much for being here. So the title to my speech is called Consume versus Create. So what do you think I might mean by that? You think about some of the nights that you just can't sleep because you're feeling like something is irritating you, or those times in the shower where something is just brewing, something's percolating, you're not sure what it is. And maybe it's that jolt that you get when you're about to wake up from a dream and you're like, something is about to change. But you have no idea what it is. Maybe it's like an itch. Maybe it is an irritation that you just don't know where to scratch. And you're trying to figure out what it is. Now, I felt this discontent after I had my son, Danny. And so that was 5.5 years ago. And as you navigate what it's like to be a brand new parent and a new life, there are a lot of questions you have around your identity. And that itch started of what am I supposed to be doing now? And there was this old biblical verse, and it is, for where your treasure is, your heart will be there also. So I'll say it again, because this one shaped a lot of my life, and I heard it a long time ago. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also. Where do you spend your money? Where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your resources? Is it nourishing your children's bodies, your family's bodies? Is it in addictions that you might struggle with? Is it on alcohol? Or is it in the bottle? Is it on things that you feel are adding to your life? My husband always says that he knows that when I'm feeling bad about myself, when he sees a lot of shopping bags around my house. Amazon comes a lot to our home. And he's right. He always can tell when I'm not feeling good about myself and I start to shop. And it seems like such an empty activity. And I started to realize when I heard that, what am I spending my money on? Why is it important? Who is it helping? You know? I think for me, I was desperate to have my pre-baby body back. And I had personal trainers. I would go to on every kind of diet just to look a certain way and to not be the mom who let herself go. And I was obsessed with it, and so obsessed with it that I went and got a full mommy makeover from a plastic surgeon that was completely botched. And I had 3 surgeries to fix it. And it's still messed up. And it's one of those things where the entire time, that itch, that discontent, that what am I spending my time, wasting my time thinking about, who cares what my body looks like? Who cares that I don't have the pre-baby body back? Who cares? I'm not trying to help, it's not helping my family. It's hurting my family because I'm so obsessed with something so trivial. But I can't take away that it wasn't trivial because it was irritating. And it's one of those things where you realize that my closet is being filled with, gads, I'm hoarding clothes to fill my empty soul in some way. And so I think a lot of this about what is your purpose in life? And I really didn't know what my purpose in life was. And even though I'm a mom, I'm still Allison and a mom. And what does that mean? What am I good at? What can I do with my time? And my time is a little bit different now that I'm a mom. So it got to the point where I felt like this nudge was happening. And I feel like I spent so many years wasting my time, wasting so many hours. I saw every single Real Housewives, every city, everyone. I knew all the characters. And I would just endlessly scroll through Facebook and Instagram. For what? None of it was nourishing. None of it. But it's just what I would do to kill time. And something felt wrong. So very many years ago, I went to a seminar, and it was on brain science, believe it or not. And the concept was really profound. And the brain science was that your brain, all it does is repeat patterns. And so when I talk about patterns, and you find yourself in the same relationship but different person, or the same job but different employer, and you find yourself with those patterns, your brain is just repeating patterns or repeating things that are familiar. And in the concept that these patterns mean that your brain is on autopilot, because it's just repeating what it already knows. It's just repeating familiar patterns. And she said the only way that you are present in life, because you're never present if your brain is just on autopilot, but the only way your brain is present is when you're creating. And that moved me. But then I was like, what am I going to be creative about? But I thought it was such a profound statement of what am I going to do to create? So I thought about, what if you find yourself in a place where you're thinking about, what can I do that feels more fulfilling, that brings me joy? What can I do where I don't feel like I'm slogging through life, but I'm making a difference, or I'm feeling better? So I came up with a 5-point experiment. So the first one is to delete Facebook and Instagram from your phone. I know. I actually did it. And it was really hard, because those empty moments, and you think we're so busy, we're barraged with information all the time. So why do we have so much time to just scroll through Facebook and Instagram, at stoplights? Sorry, police, and my kids and everybody else I'm putting in danger, but at stoplights when you're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, or even just when you're in a waiting room at a doctor's office, or even just you have a minute of boredom, so you get on this. So what if you took that time that you would have been bored and just did something else? So number one is to delete social media off your phone. I know it's hard to do. I did it. I actually reinstalled it just to do Facebook Live. So everybody. The second thing is, what brings you joy? What brings you joy? Is it cooking? Is it creating? Is it drawing? Is it writing? Is it none of those things? Is it helping people? What brings you true joy? And I went to a nutritionist a long time ago, and I was saying, well, how do I stop eating pasta? How do I stop eating bread? And she said, don't do all that. Just start crowding out the bad. So maybe crowding out the bad is adding in more joy to your life and paying more attention and being more focused on what brings you joy. So maybe it's writing. Maybe it is taking pictures, Malcolm. Something that brings you joy, true joy. Not just happy in the moment, but just you feel alive. And they often say, if you ask a 5-year-old, can you draw? Your 5-year-old will say, yeah, here's a stick figure and here's a house. If you ask a 35-year-old, can you draw? Oh, no. You just throw out of practice. So some of it is just finding what your joy is and do more of it. The fourth thing is, this one is really hard for me, is to sit in your quiet. Because maybe that nudge is the universe or God or whatever you feel is your universe, is trying to tell you something. You can't hear it through the noise, you just can't. So sit in your quiet. And the last thing is, above all else, get a good night's sleep. I know it's hard in some cases, but when you're well rested, you're a healthy body, healthy mind. So I want to close on what is your joy, and do you consume or do you create? And if you just subtract, consume, or create, add, what would happen with your life? Thank you.